What's up everyone and welcome back. Dana White compares Paddy Pimblett's star power to Sean O'Malley's, and Sugar Sean responds. After Paddy Pimblett's big win over the weekend against Kazula Vargas, UFC President Dana White was asked what he could compare Paddy's stardom to, and the UFC boss man compared Paddy the Baddy to Sugar Sean O'Malley. Both are great with the mic, young fighters with a ton of personality. They're also well-rounded fighters who come for the finish and provide a ton of excitement inside the cage. White went so far as to cite that Paddy the Baddy pulled in 1.3 million views on his Instagram page for the pre-fight face-off with Rodrigo Vargas ahead of the UFC London card last week. Now, O'Malley is reacting to the news that White compared Paddy's stardom to that of himself by saying this while on the Timbo Sugar Show recently.
Yeah, no, that was cool. I jayed off him.
What do you think about Dana White's comparison of Paddy and O'Malley having the same type of star power? Do you agree? Wonderboy says Kamaru Usman will demolish Conor McGregor. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is a former title challenger who knows just how good the top guys in the welterweight division are. He also has a ton of respect for Conor McGregor, that much is known, as he praises the Irishman for all of his accomplishments and his deadly left hand. But when it comes to a potential fight against welterweight champion Kamaru Usman, Wonderboy has his money firmly on the Nigerian Nightmare all day long. McGregor has become more open about what he wants when he returns to the octagon later this year after he heals up his broken leg injury. He's been linked to a potential top-tier fight in the lightweight division, perhaps for the championship, of which he was once a champion himself. However, recently, the Notorious One made it clear he's actually targeting a potential clash against the 185-pound king in Kamaru Usman, calling him a jab-happy wrestler who doesn't pose a threat. Well, in a recent video on his YouTube channel, Wonderboy let it be known what he thinks would happen if the two of them ever met in the cage. This is what he said.
He's going to get demolished.
Yeah,
he's going to be a big fight, big payday, but you're going to get demolished, dude. I love you, Conor, but you put on the weight like that and you're fighting a dude at 170. I mean, you got to try and put some weight on to become a real 170. I mean, look at Kamaru. Look at the biceps and shoulders on that guy.
Usman has looked scary good in all of his UFC fights and has yet to lose in the octagon. He's also looked dominant as the welterweight champion, finishing all of his opponents at one point as he prepares for a potential clash against Leon Edwards sometime later this year, once his broken hand heals up. McGregor, meanwhile, has fought at 170 pounds before, a win and a loss against Nate Diaz, and a first-round win over Donald Cerrone. But McGregor has also dropped 3 out of his last 4 fights in the cage, dating back all the way to 2018. And by the time he does return, it would have been at least a year since he last stepped in the cage in July of 2021. Do you agree with Wonderboy that Usman would demolish Conor McGregor? Or do you think the Notorious One would surprise people in a potential clash against the welterweight champion? 11 charges on the docket for Chael Sonnen over December Las Vegas hotel fight. Chael Sonnen is once again feeling the heat over a hotel brawl that took place this past December. Reports say that in the lead up to that altercation, there were certain people heckling and making a ton of horrible remarks about him and specifically Sonnen's wife. He then allegedly beat up 5 separate people during the incident, all men at the Luxor Hotel and Casino. A video of Sonnen being led away by police from the hotel quickly surfaced online, with Sonnen clearly cooperating, but he was never arrested or detained. He was hit with 5 misdemeanor battery citations, but all of these were later dismissed a month later by the court without prejudice, which means that they could be refiled later on. And that's exactly what happened, as TMZ is now reporting that Sonnen now faces 10 misdemeanor battery charges along with 1 felony battery by strangulation charge, all of which were filed on March 14. Sonnen now has a court date set for April 27 in Las Vegas. The incident involving Sonnen has never really been fully addressed by the American gangster, and since that altercation, he served as color commentator for UFC events and for Khabib Nurmagomedov's Eagle FC promotion. What do you make of Sonnen facing 11 charges over the December Las Vegas hotel fight? Don't forget to take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the latest fight news. Potential felony charge for Jorge Masvidal over a restaurant brawl against Colby Covington. A violent altercation at a Miami restaurant could put Jorge Masvidal in hot water with the authorities, as Gamebred now faces a potential felony battery charge in connection with the incident. Reports online indicated that Masvidal allegedly punched Covington in the mouth and the left eye while outside the Poppy Steak restaurant in South Florida, and reports say that Colby suffered a fractured tooth and an abrasion on his left wrist as a result. Miami police say that during the brawl, Masvidal yelled at Covington, stating, "You shouldn't have been talking about my kids." In the lead up to their UFC 272 main event fight earlier this month, Covington had made all sorts of disparaging remarks towards Masvidal, bringing up his ex-wife and his kids, claiming he was a deadbeat dad. At the moment, Covington would have to prove that Masvidal was the instigator and assaulted him first. And while no charges have yet been filed, it remains to be seen what happens here. This isn't Masvidal's first backstage rodeo, as he did get into a scuffle with Leon Edwards backstage at UFC London in 2019, throwing his now infamous 3-piece and a soda, but no charges were filed over that incident. What do you make of this whole situation regarding Masvidal and Covington? Do you believe Masvidal will face charges? Fight purses for Paddy Pimblett, Molly McCann revealed. The UFC London card was electric from start to finish, and two of the biggest reasons why was because of Molly McCann and Paddy Pimblett putting a hurting on their opponents in the octagon on Saturday. Paddy the Baddy, in just his second fight in the UFC, tapped Kazula Vargas in the first round. But it was Meatball who scored quite possibly the best knockout of the year so far for 2022, with a beautiful spinning back elbow that landed flush on Luana Carolina. For these finishes, the crowd at the O2 Arena went nuts. Now, days after the event, people have become curious as to how much they were paid, given that fighter pay has become a somewhat hot topic in the wake of Jake Paul kicking up a fuss in his online battle with Dana White. Just check out this exchange between Paddy, Molly McCann, and Dave Portnoy, the owner of Barstool Sports, while on the Dave Portnoy show with Eddie and Co.
I think it was 40 and 40.
So you get paid more than Paddy?
That's my 8th fight. Paddy will probably get paid more than me now with his next deal, though.
So every time you win, it goes up, basically.
Yeah.
No wonder. That's it.
Portnoy was shocked to hear what each fighter received for their fight purse to enter the bout and win the fight, especially given how much money Paddy himself generates, given his personality and the fact that many people simply want to watch him fight. Portnoy is no stranger to working with UFC fighters. He's hired Paddy to be part of his Barstool Sports company, knowing how much of a star Paddy could become. Reports out of the MMA media say that Paddy was paid an additional $4,000 and McCann another $6,000 as UFC promotional guidelines compliance pay. In addition, both fighters were given an extra $50,000 performance of the night bonus, part of a group of 9 fighters who received that bonus on the UFC London card, as Dana White said that he gave all fighters who finished their fights this specific bonus. Overall, reports say that Pimblett took home about $78,000 and McCann $136,000, which does not include discretionary bonuses, which the UFC hands out to certain fighters in private. But again, those two numbers are still not confirmed. What do you make of Paddy and McCann's pay for the UFC London wins? Do you feel they are underpaid? What do you feel about the UFC payment structure? Do you feel it's fair? Join the discussion in the comments section. Today's video was packed with some juicy stories from the fight world. What are your thoughts about what's going on in MMA? Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel to see more videos just like this. See you next time.